Welcome to the Accounting Technology Fireside Chat Podcast. Now, sit back and enjoy while Nick and Trevor help you use your technology to make money and delight your clients.
Well, good morning, Trevor, and welcome to the Accounting Technology Fireside Chat Podcast. Live. Yes, I didn't tell you that. We're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube right now. It's really scarily exciting.
So behave.
Well, but behave. But also for everybody who's going to be listening later, we also put this on the normal channels. Like this will go out as a podcast and all sorts of stuff. But how exciting is that? So second one in 2 weeks. It looks like we're getting back into a roll. With it.
Yay! We've got a rhythm again. Yeah.
So for people who haven't seen or listened to this before, let's do some introductions. Trevor, introduce yourself.
G'day, I'm Trevor Shoemakers. Nick and I had a business, we're in business together in a company called Hub One Practice, which is a document management system. But my history goes back to being a partner of an accounting firm for 25 years. And I was one of the early adopters of Xero and helped Xero get going in their space of moving to the cloud. And now I'm sort of like creating that conduit between accounting and tech because I've sort of played in both worlds.
Cool, excellent. I'll say hi. My name's Nick Pojard. I've been a software developer since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. So I spent most of my life working in large enterprises, but for the last 10 or so years, been working with Trevor on bringing accounting technology to the accounting industry, which has been fascinating. And now we're off doing slightly different things, but it's still around. And your dogs are barking in the background. Look at that. Well, that's absolutely awesome. I will let you know that my dog was barking at 2 o'clock this morning, so I'm a little tired after that, but we'll wait for Trevor to get back. And what we're going to be talking about today as he runs away and makes the dog happen is we're going to be talking about collaboration in the workplace.
And the other one was sad that she didn't get to go to the vet, so my bad. Sorry about that.
Oh, well, that's all good. So I was just explaining to everybody that you were sorting the dog out. My dog was barking at 2 o'clock this morning, so I know that kind of feeling. But today, what are we talking about, Trev?
Today, I want to really cover off Teams because Teams has changed a lot in the last, realistically, it sort of started 5 years ago and everybody really was confused with where Teams was. And in the last 12 months, especially with COVID, there's been a big move towards Teams and managing your business using Teams. So I'd love to cover that off a bit more.
Okay, so I think rather than, we could sit here and I could change the screen and we could do a demonstration of Teams, but I'm really keen to know how it works in an accounting business. I know how it works for business. How does Teams help an accounting business?
So I have to go sort this dog out.
Oh, that's absolutely cracking. Let's take a 30-second break and we'll be back when Trevor gets back without the dog. And welcome back to the Accounting Technology Fireside Chat, hopefully without barking dogs in the background.
Hopefully without barking dogs. She's sitting here. I've got her in the room with me and we're working it out. She's not happy that one took off with mum. So
okay.
Yeah,
there you go. Let's see how we go. So talk to me about Teams in an accounting business. And let's not start by talking about what Teams does. Let's start about talking about how hard it is to get something like Teams implemented into an accounting business where everybody's used to doing things a certain way.
Yeah, so I suppose if you think back to an accounting firm and how an accounting firm works, they have their practice management system, they work in there, they have their documents and their document management system. They work in there and they do their emails and they send back and forth lots and lots of emails, or they go walking across the room and have lots of meetings and they do those sort of things. When COVID hit, things got a little bit different because you had to sort of manage that a bit. And that's where I think Teams evolved from. Teams really took hold then, because people were going, okay, well, how do I do that same thing remotely? And
Yep.
everybody went, oh, you know what? I remember there's a product that Microsoft got that's called Teams. And what does that do? It creates an environment where you can have meetings together. You can put all your documents in one place. You could probably create a link to your practice management system with single sign-on using Active Directory and all of these sort of things. But you can have it all, and you can have conversations and communications and keep that recorded in the one place.
So I remember when it first came out, I wasn't an enormous fan of Teams. I thought it was, I liked Skype for Business. That's a bit old school, but I just didn't know where it was going. So then you've got a problem, right? You can put chats into Teams, you can put chats in email, you can talk to somebody at the water cooler, and then suddenly COVID happened, and the world thinks we're all using Zoom. So what happened there? How did that kind of come about?
Yeah, it was Zoom. So video conferencing, they somehow everybody, it's like you've got your products of, I can't think of any off the top of my favorite one is Maggie seasoning. My family call it Maggie, and it's just seasoning. That's the product, the brand. So Zoom takes over, and everybody calls them all Zoom meetings. They don't know them as a video conferencing call. So then I say, well, what you've got Teams is built into your 365 account, and you can use it all together. And everybody goes, well, I don't know how to use that. It's exactly the same product, but nobody wants to move away from it. That's a concept that I don't understand, but it's this thing of someone gets a brand and the brand takes over what the actual product is.
Okay, so why don't we have a quick look at Teams? And we'll talk through it a little bit and look at how it applies. So the first thing, which I think people are going to find a bit interesting, is Teams isn't just a video conferencing system. If you implement it correctly, it can be your phone system as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you've got to do something. You've got, like Nick, you're more technical than I am, but to get it to run in Australia is not as easy as to get it to run in the US and so forth.
In the US, you just turn it on with Microsoft. Here in Australia, you need to go to an IT provider like TribeTech, who I work with, who'll turn on Teams voice, and then Teams becomes the same number as your desk phone, but it follows you around. So if you're on your mobile, it will go to your mobile, etc., etc. So that's one of the things with Teams, right? So it can be your phone system.
Yeah, and people can call in, and it's a full PABX and all that as well. You've got like a full PABX system where your receptionist can take a call and transfer that call through to your Teams account, but it will also open up in your phone as well. So on your mobile. So it actually works extremely well.
Yeah. So the other thing you can do with Teams is, talking about calling, is you can start adding people from other organizations. So obviously I've got Lawrence and Trevor and David from Hub One, but here I've got Aurelie, who's from a totally different organization. And now you'll see down the bottom, and this is something people forget, this little icon down here where I've got my mouse, that's called the presence indicator. And that shows you some interesting things. And I'll show you in mine up here, so I can set it. So I can choose whether I'm available, busy, do not disturb, be right back, appear away, or appear offline. So if I'm available, Trevor could dive in and instantly have a message with me. If I'm busy, he knows to only do it if it's urgent. And if I'm presenting full screen, it will immediately go to do not disturb. So that presence is crazy useful, right?
Yeah, and it just stops that, phone tag. And you can also set it and say, well, let me know when the presence changes. So I can say, well, if Nick's busy, I can say, put a little note, right click it and say, let me know when when Nick's available to call, and I can ring him, or I can flick him a chat and say, hey, call me when you're free, without interrupting you when you're having a meeting.
Okay, cool. So let's dive on to the left. We're going to have a look at Teams, and we're going to go make one. Yeah, go for it.
Right, one thing with presence, right? So COVID hits, and Victoria goes into lockdown last year, and the CEO of Ashford's, Greg Cusack, he looked at me and said, how do I know what everybody's doing? How do I know everybody's coming to work? How do I know what's going with my business? And he had this, this is crazy. How are we going to run our business here? And one of the first things we did is we got into training on Teams so that people started working together. But the other thing was, when I showed him presence, the lights turning on and him going, oh, everybody's coming to work. That was something that really helped him in those really disastrous times. You've got 80 staff not coming to work, and he loves everybody at work. He likes to go around and say good morning and those sort of things. And for him to lose that immediate access to his staff, or that touchy-feely that he had, really upset him. But to show him presence just helped him a little bit more to know that people are all turning on and getting there.
Okay, so presence. I think when I first showed this to a managing director who ran a building company like 10 years ago, and I showed him presence, and he described it as a system that allowed him to keep the bastards honest.
Yeah.
He could actually see when people were doing things and when they weren't.
And some people, when they first see it, go, ooh, Big Brother's watching me and all that. And I go, no, you've got to really look at it in a way of it's there to help you. It's there for you to go, I don't want to be disturbed. I'm working on something, or I'm in a meeting, or please, I'm presenting. Don't call me or send a silly chat message through or something like that, because I'm presenting to people. So it's designed that way. But, if you think back, when we used to do a lot of management in our accounting firm, one of the biggest issues that people had was interruptions. They would say, I'm busy working on something and I'm constantly getting interrupted. I'm getting interrupted. So presence and having an understanding of presence allowed you to do that. I remember, at Hanson's, we used to have a little red flag thing that we put up if we didn't want to be interrupted because we were working on something, it's exactly the same thing, but 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have the tech to do it. So, and that was something that brought in because everybody said, I just get interrupted all the time. I can't get my work done.
Yeah, no, for sure. But here you can do it electronically, which is cool. But what's also neat about it is it integrates with the calendar. So you'll see here, I don't have much of my calendar. This is an older calendar I don't use, but you see I've got this blocked out focus time thing. Yeah. That's actually created using Microsoft's AI in Office 365. It blocks out time for me to focus on work. When I go into focus time, my presence actually changes, not from any of these, but it changes to focusing internally so that you can see that I'm busy, and externally it will change to do not disturb. So I can just focus on what I'm doing.
Well, can you just explain a bit of that, where it's setting up this AI and this focus time and all of those sort of things? Yeah. Because I get my message in the morning, Cortana gives me a message and tells me that, but I've also got business intelligence that tells me how I'm working. So I read it and I go, and it says, you've got to spend more time working on the business and working on things because you've got too many meetings. That actually flags a warning to me. Yeah.
So let me show you this. This all happens in Outlook. Here's my Outlook here. And if I go to Insights, this is the magic that's doing all of those things. So Insights, which lives here, gives you a bunch of things you can think about. So I've got some outstanding tasks. I need to prepare for my upcoming meetings. It knows who I've been talking to. It allows me to catch up with my team, blah, blah, blah. So it's got a bunch of different things in here that it's suggesting that I do. It's also looking at what I do, and actually that's brought up a new browser window. So let me I'll show you that, and I'll show you what's going on in this screen, because this is actually quite fascinating. So let me stop this and I'll share that other window. Let me go get that. Here we go, my analytics. And you can see what it's picking up from what I do. Do I have enough uninterrupted time to get my work done? Do I manage my network? Could my working time be more productive? So it's looking at what I do in Teams and in Outlook and in Office 365, and it's kind of working out what I'm doing to make sure I'm doing the right things to be as productive as I can.
And this then brings back the importance of doing everything all in the one place, doesn't it? It's that whole thing of, and that's where what Teams is doing. It's bringing you into their environment, but that allows you to manage these things and manage those areas. I think, the business owner in me goes, yeah, well, what do you need someone to tell you? You need to have an hour for lunch and you need some quiet time and all that. No, you just need to keep working. But the world's changed. We've really changed, and there is a need to look after your staff. And these tools are things that they can look at and go, yeah, I do need to have my proper breaks. I do need to have some time to slow down. Otherwise, everybody burns out.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing is, what they're doing is they're using quite a lot of research to make things as as efficient as possible. They know that if you're in a meeting and you're doing something else, you're not focused on the meeting. So they can pick that up. They go, how many meetings did you, what they call multitasking, which means didn't pay attention to the meeting and did other stuff. Yeah, so it'll know that. But I've got it now automatically booking focus time for me, because obviously in software development, like accounting, you need that time to focus. I get it to book time before and after meetings to prepare and then write notes. So, and it does all of that now automatically. So it puts me it just makes life really efficient. It's like having an electronic PA who looks after you.
Yeah, I saw one of the partners at Ashford's the other week, and they were doing their tax training, and he was going, I'm looking around and I'm seeing everybody doing all their work while they've got the tax training going on the other side. And he was like, how are they supposed to be getting involved and understanding all of that? Then they have recordings. And so they've sort of not utilizing that time that they should be. And he was picking up on that, and he wanted to sort of, and maybe that's something I can point out to him, that he can get some statistics from his team and talk to them about the importance of, you've got training, focus on your training, then do your work. You're trying to do both of them, it isn't going to work from there. So
and you and I know, if you're not focused on training like that, you don't do a great job.
No. I always see it's that interaction, and short bursts and all of those sort of things are really important.
Yeah, no, they are.
We missed a little bit, but I think it was really important that that concept of Teams is bringing that in. So what are, other things that I use in Teams that I've sort of started. So we've got Teams set up, and we're doing document management in Teams. So we set up an account the other week. It was a business. They needed some document management to be sorted out. We sat down with them and we built channels. So we built teams with channels. So
let's while you're talking, I'll do one. So I'm going to create a team here. I'll create from scratch. I have got templates I can use. So what do I want to do? Manage an event, incident response. There's lots you can do here.
Yeah, and they're creating, Microsoft are creating lots and lots of templates for you that you can, that will just generate a few things. So go and check them out and give them a go, create some teams. But, so this one here is automatically creating a channel for each area and putting 5 apps in there automatically. And then we say, is it a private team? So a private team means that Nick's in control of that team. He will decide who can come in and who can go out of that team. So he's in charge. This then starts to bring permissions and control permissions over document management as well.
So let me go create the team. It does. And then if you use Hub One software as well, you can link into your client folders and your document management system and make that available too. So that's going to go and create that team and get it ready. Give it a second, and when it comes up, we'll be able to see what it's doing. So let's
talk about the private versus a public team. A private team is one that you've set up and within your organization, and you want to control who can come in and what they can see. Whereas a public team is one that's available for everybody and they can join. And then there's an organizational team which automatically just puts everybody in the organization into that team.
Yep. So and we've seen, I know I'm working with a school and they have, and I'll just dive into Nick's project team here and we'll talk about it in a second. But the school I'm working with have a team for every lesson. Every class, every lesson has its own team.
And that seems mind-boggling and a bit hard to manage, but it's not really, is it?
Well, if I'm a student, I just see the classes I'm in. So I might be doing 20 subjects. I see 20 teams. If I'm a teacher,
the teacher manages the team. That's so cool.
Absolutely. But centrally, we're managing thousands of these things. So anyway, this team's coming together and building itself. And Trevor talked about files. It's working on getting to those. It's just setting itself up. So, of course, it's going to take some time doing that this morning. I'm trying to do live demos.
Yeah.
But by default...
While we're waiting, tell me what a wiki is.
Wiki. It comes from a Hawaiian word called wiki. And that's about all I know. But it's a piece of technology created many years ago, really initiated by Wikipedia. And it's a way of creating well-formatted documents that link to other documents. It's a way of creating, encyclopedias and knowledge bases and recording your information in ways that aren't Word documents, because Word documents are kind of opaque. It's hard to get to the data inside them.
Yeah. Do you see many people using Wiki out
Yeah,
there?
lots, but they tend to be a little bit more on the technical side, or there's manufacturing or process automation. I think accountants should document their processes, but they never seem to as much as I think they should. So that would be a great place to document. Here's how we do an ITR. Here's how we do this. Here's how we do the other thing.
But where would they store that Wiki? So they would have a process. They would have an accounting process team or something like that and put the Wiki in there. Or do they just have an accounting team and put that process in, or do they have a whole org team and they put all their organizational?
So I put all the organizational stuff centrally for everybody to refer to, and I'd have a process for everything. Right?
Yeah.
If you think about quality control is about doing the same things the same way every time. You kind of need processes to make that happen.
Yeah, and so then it really can be an intranet, can't it? Like your team, and the whole org team can be an intranet without the complexities of trying to create an intranet.
Yeah, absolutely. And Teams is way more. Yeah, it's way more flexible and easy to use. You'll notice as well in Teams, once I've created a team, I can just instantly meet with everybody in that team by clicking this button up here.
Yeah, and that fires it all.
And I can schedule a meeting, and if I record the video conference, it will actually put it back into the team so you can see things. So it becomes ridiculously collaborative.
Yeah, so you miss the meeting, you can go back and you know exactly where it is. There's no running around saying, oh, where'd you put that copy of the video that we recorded? It's in the team that you were in, and the meeting was generated from within that team. And that's something a lot of people need to do a lot more of, is generate or create the meeting from within the team so that it does all that automation for them.
Yeah,
so
well, if you imagine if you've got one of your clients has a complex set of trusts and businesses, and you want to have a meeting with them where you have maybe the partner involved talking about tax issues, maybe their accountant involved talking about something very specific, and maybe even a legal advisor talking about structuring. You can get everybody together in a Teams meeting, record it in the channel, and share the channel with the client. And the client can then, you do a 1 hour meeting, clients forget that in about 5 femtoseconds, right? What you'll have is they can then log back in and went, oh, that's what he said.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that whole part of the dilemma of an accounting firm going, how do I record? How do I easily record what we've talked to them about so that we've got that documented and all of those sort of things within that meeting? A lot of people are going to be a bit frightened about bringing clients into a team for their client groups, but you use that team only for that, where you store the documents that you want them to have. You can talk about channels, and let's talk about private channels and non-private channels. So you could create a team, invite your clients in there, but then you could create a channel and make it a private channel just for you and the accountants to work on.
You could. So, I'm in my team here. I can add a channel, and we'll call it secrecy.
Yeah.
And then under privacy, I can decide. So I can say it's only a specific group of people who can see it, or everybody can see it, or show it or don't show it. So I'll make it private, and I'll go create that channel. And then I can invite, the thing is with a team, what will happen is you'll set up a team and you'll invite the client to the team. You can then create secret channels underneath that for you to have private discussions. And when you're ready to promote those to everybody else, you can copy them or upload them or move them around.
Moving documents and so forth is really easy within Teams as well, especially moving a document between channels. That's an easy process. It's a lot easier than it used to be.
Yeah, right click and move. It all happens in the cloud. It's really cool.
Yeah. And files, it's a document center, isn't it? It's a SharePoint document center.
Yeah, it's using a SharePoint document library in the back end. So when I go and click on files here, if it's got itself set up correctly, which I think it has now, you've got a button here saying open in SharePoint. That's SharePoint stuff. So it's living in the same space that all of the rest of your documents live in.
So you've got now, let's make it very clear. OneDrive, Teams, and SharePoint are really all the same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
Different permissions.
Yep.
And the beauty of Teams is, so OneDrive is the permissions are locked and you control it, and nothing happens unless you and release it. Teams is locked based on who's in the team and the documents are about, whereas SharePoint's all completely available to everybody unless you manually go and change the permissions on the folders of the document.
Yeah, so
And you need to
SharePoint,
run that.
careful with the everybody word.
Mhm.
SharePoint's available to everybody in the organization unless you lock it down
Yeah,
by default. Teams is available to the people in the team unless you lock it down. And OneDrive is available just to you.
unless you share it.
Unless you share it, absolutely.
Yeah. And but everybody needs to understand they're all the one thing.
Yeah, they're all same place, doing the same thing, just
Thing.
slightly different visibility.
Yeah. What about other apps, Nick? So I've got I've got Planner, and which they're changing now the word to tasks, and they've got a different word for it now.
Yeah, they do. So there's lots of different places for it. So there's, and you'll see here, what's just appeared up here is project plans.
I can't see the screen, so.
Oh, you can't see my screen, so let me put that back up.
Yeah,
so let me set up this tab. And what this is doing is this is setting up a new plan or project plan. And Planner and To Do is an integrated project management platform, which allows you to create tasks. Here we go. I'll create a task, do stuff. I'll say to do, in progress. And I'll add one over here saying done. And then when I've got those set up, those kind of columns there, I can then drag these things. So I'll just add this task, let's do stuff. I can drag it to the different stages depending on what's happened. So I've got, rather than putting yellow sticky notes on a board to work out what I'm doing, I can do it in here and the entire team can see it. What then gets neat is it then will give me a schedule of what's happening. It will give me charts of what's going on, a board, or I can just work off a list if I feel like it.
And like I use this a lot with I've got, some big projects that I'm working on at the moment, and I'll create a team for that project. I invite all the clients, all the stakeholders in that, including client and my team members and external, and I bring them into that plan, and they can visualize everything we've got to get done, where we're at with it, we communicate together on it, and I assign tasks to people, like to my clients, and say, well, you've got to get this done. How are we going with that? We've got to get your fixed asset register in. So just so everybody knows, we're waiting for, one of the team to put together the fixed asset register so we can import it into Xero, for example.
Yeah, so you can. So you can drive, you're not just driving internal people, you can drive external people as well. And this comes integrated with Microsoft To Do, which is a really cool to-do list app you can have on your phone. So as you're adding things in here, they're adding there. I'm mindful, Trev, we've already been going for half an hour. I know. Podcast, and we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we should get on to do next week, because I love To Do and putting in my day and working with my team on what they're going to work on based on all the different plans we've got in our teams. This is exciting. This is a really good thing. I think we should continue on with this next week, get into To Do and some of the other apps, and start talking maybe about Power Automate and how all of that can come together.
Cool. So let's do that. Let's start doing To Do, and then as we go through this series, we'll start talking about really automating your firm, which will be super cool.
All right.
Excellent. Thanks, Trev.
Earlier.
All right.
I'll see you.
Yeah, and if you are listening or watching, please make sure you subscribe, give us a like if you like what you're hearing, put a comment in to let us know what topics you want us to cover. But at the moment, we're going to stick on this making your practice more productive thing, I think.
Yeah, let's do that and work around To Do and all the apps that we've got in Office 365.
Sounds wonderful. Well, Trevor, you have a fantastic day.
You too, mate.
Cheers. Bye.